Okay, so I'm going to make a rant video. Now, this video is only for those of you who actually want to be healthy. If you don't want to be healthy, you'll know you'll know you're the type that are not serious about being healthy if you dispute anything I say in this video. Okay? So, if you're not serious, if you're looking to pick a fight, just move on, because I'm not going to deal with you. If you have legitimate questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I will answer legitimate questions. People just wanting to stick in their unhealthy ways, you'll be blocked. I don't know what platform I'm going to put this on yet. I'm just going to make the video first. Okay. If you want to be healthy, it's very simple. But hard if you don't have willpower. Okay? If you don't have the strength to tell yourself no or change your habits, it's hard. But it's very simple. First thing, of course, don't eat fast food. Don't eat processed foods. This is the thing that's going to change your life, is your eating habits. That's going to be the primary thing that will change your health. Eating basically what they call perimeter shopping foods. And I would exclude the dairy. The dairy really isn't necessary if you get your calcium elsewhere. But for most people, your calcium will have to come from your greens, and I think soy has a tiny bit of, but people aren't going to do that. So I would recommend, if you're going to get the dairy, get the least processed dairy. The processing is what takes the nutrition out of the foods. So go with your milk, maybe your cheese. Stay away from cottage cheese. Stay away from all that other stuff. Cheese, American cheese is a cheese product, not actual cheese. Don't ever eat that crap. Your cheese spreads, them are like your Velveeta, that's a cheese product. That all the nutrition is processed out of it, and it tastes gross anyways. If you're going to have cheese, get your block cheese. Don't get your sliced cheese. Definitely do not get your shredded cheese. Shredded cheese, they put some chemical crap on it to make it a waxy coating so it doesn't clump up when it's frozen or when it's in the refrigerator. It's to keep it separate, and it's just a bunch of chemicals and waxy stuff that you shouldn't be eating anyways. Might as well eat the processed foods if you want that. Perimeter shopping is basically just going around the edges of your grocery store. The typical grocery store will have the healthy foods on the outsides. Starting with, in our grocery store, the produce is up front. A couple of every grocery store I can think of, your produce is up front. That's the stuff you want to eat. That should be 80% of your diet, is that fresh fruits and vegetables. And then around, let's see, our Myers is different than our Market House. Our Walmart is different than our Market House. But typically you'll go from the produce, and then along the side will be, sad to say, a lot of frozen processed foods are in the perimeter now. But don't get that stuff. Don't even get the frozen vegetables. Do not get frozen vegetables. People say they're healthy. Most people just put them in a steamer or boiler, and that just takes all the nutrition out of them. Stick with your fresh stuff. Your meats would probably be next that you would like to attack. And then your dairy, of course. And I would like to say something for dairy. As you age, our body starts becoming lactose intolerant. So that's another reason I think that you'd want to avoid dairy, especially if you're older. Part of health is not being gassy and bloated and stuff. So that stuff, the older you get, the more likely it's to cause gastrointestinal distress, which is not health, which is the opposite of health. The only thing I would recommend maybe is going in your baking aisle. Stay away. There's controversy over this, but really white flour has no nutritional value. It doesn't. Very little nutritional value. It has more nutritional value than your soda pop. Don't drink soda pop. But very little. So avoid that. Go with your other flours, your corn flours, oatmeal. You can grind that up into a flour in your own food processor or blender. I always recommend a blender over a food processor if you want to make something granular. The most food processors will not make stuff granular. Your blender takes a little bit longer to do it because you got to swish the stuff around in it, but it will make it. It will be granular. You can get just get plain old oatmeal and steel cut. Don't get the instant stuff. Get like the old fashioned steel cut is the best. Old fashioned works fine too, but steel cut is the best. Grind it in your blender, and that could be your flour, corn flour, popcorn flour. I wouldn't even recommend wheat because so many people are having gluten problems now. And the thing with gluten, I'm going to go off on tangents here because health is a complex issue. It's not something that you can promote in a 10-second video and think you're giving people good advice, because you're not. You're probably giving people bad advice if your video only lasts 10 seconds and is about health. Now, the reason flours are becoming more glutinous, so your flours, white flour and wheat flour, it has gluten in it. And there's other flours, but it's because of the way it's being processed. It used to be stone grind, sometimes wood grind, but now it's being ground on metal, and the metal heats up, and structurally, because that metal will be heating up, it does something to make the flour more glutinous, percentage-wise. It's taking some of the other stuff out that helped, mask the gluten. So it's just much more glutinous, and that's why we're having more gluten issues. Plus, we're eating more breaded stuff, so that high gluten flour is on so much of our foods, and it's being put in so much of our processed foods, stuff you wouldn't even think would have gluten in it, like a lot of gravies. Instead of using cornstarch, you'll use white flour to thicken it, and of course you're getting your gluten there, and you add the little gluten here and there from all these items, and you're having a tremendous amount of gluten in your diet. So for me personally, as far as I know, I'm not allergic to gluten. I'm sensitive to gluten. My problem is acne. The gluten causes me to have acne. So if you're having a problem with acne, consider gluten. Remove the gluten from your diet. See if it helps your acne. Other people say that gluten, once they removed the gluten from their diet, their joints felt better and they had less headaches and all that stuff. That might be placebo effect, but if it's placebo effect, why not go with it? Who cares the reason? If removing gluten gives you a positive placebo effect, there's no need to have the gluten in your diet to begin with. It's not doing anything for your health. So anyways, the only thing I would recommend is going down that baking aisle, getting your herbs and spices, you know, your baked goods. Oh, the one thing I forgot about the perimeter shopping is your eggs. You need to get your eggs there. But let's go back to the baking aisle. Your vanilla, your salt. Don't get sugar. Let me tell you about sugar. I'm trying to wean myself completely off of sugar. I've weaned like 70%, 80% of my diet off of, you know, the sugar stuff and sugar substitutes. One of the things I just recently found is that dates, even figs, but I like the dates better. I don't like the little crunchy seeds in the figs. But the figs or the dates, you can use them in substitute of sugar and just use them like it. Don't get the oil. I heard of date oil, I heard of fig oil. Don't do that. That stuff's too expensive. It's hard to find. Dates and figs are pretty expensive, but not as expensive as the oil. You can use that in place of your sugar. For me, for example, I made gluten-free cookies with cornmeal and oatmeal, with the ground oatmeal, the granular oatmeal that I ground up myself in my kitchen. And there was a 1/4 cup of peanut butter in there. I added chocolate chips. I also put, what else did I put in there? I do think I put some figs in it just because I had some, but I don't really like them. And for the sweetener, I just chopped up the dates. I actually just cut up the dates. It's easier to cut them than to chop them. And put that in there and mixed it all up. And I didn't have any white sugar, but it was very sweet. It was sweet enough to temper my craving for sweets. And it's 100% healthy. The only thing that isn't healthy in there would be the chocolate chips. But if you don't, you could use carob chips, or you could just leave them out, or you could put something else in there. The original recipe called for blueberries and something else, I can't remember, but you could put like bananas in there or something. You know, you could chop strawberries up and put it in there for sweetness as opposed to the chocolate chips. So, but anyways, that's 100% healthy and it's sweet. So go down your baking aisle, get a few of your things, or your cornstarch and, you know, oh gosh, I can't even remember it's been a while since I've been on the baking aisle. But get that, but that's the only aisle you should be going on. Anything that has a label on it with your nutritional value, I am almost positive that that is something you should not be eating. Yeah, it's something you shouldn't be eating. There's rare exceptions where I'd say, okay, that would be good for a treat, like your Greek yogurt, your cottage cheese, even though cottage cheese is iffy because most of the cottage cheese has preservatives in it. Not your American yogurt, United States yogurt, your Greek yogurt might be something you could have as a treat. Like I said, cottage cheese. These are dairy products. So you're going to find out if you have lactose intolerance. But anyways, this is what's going to give you the best health. And then your exercise. Walking. This is something that I always get pushed back on, and this is why I'm making this video. I always get pushed back on walking. When I say walking is not a good exercise, it's not exercise at all. It's bad exercise. If you're going to get your lazy butt up and move, make it count. Walking does not count. For my height and my gender, walking a full hour doesn't even use up the calorie content of a king size candy bar. And I'm saying this as a person who used to be, oh my gosh, I could walk for 2 hours a day before going to work when I worked second shift. Afternoons, when I worked afternoons, I would walk for long. My partner bought me it was like a $1,500 treadmill, so I could walk on days when I couldn't walk outside, on snowy days, rainy days, because I like to walk. But even then I knew this isn't burning many calories. And I could even tell, I didn't even have to look at my calorie burning chart pre-internet or my treadmill to see how many estimated calories I burned. I knew, because I didn't lose any weight from it. So I knew I wasn't burning anything. And it does nothing. If anything, it makes things worse. Here's where another controversy, people that don't know what they're talking about, even docs don't know what they're talking about when they come to athletes know this. Professional athletes do. Walking can cause prolapse. Walking can cause back problems. Think about it. Think about like your car without shocks. The first cars were made without shock absorbers. And they fell apart, especially on the crappy roads they used to have. Well, once cars became popular, the roads became smoother and paved, and they invented shock absorbers to absorb all the boom, 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 when you hit potholes or, whatever's in the road, to absorb that bouncing that happens when a car is moving, so the parts wouldn't eventually fall off. But that's your body. When your body's walking or running's worse, boom, 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 you up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's really that hitting the pavement that is going to cause your prolapse. Doctors will not tell you this. Most doctors do not know this, or they don't want to admit it, because what can you do? You can say, yes, it will cause prolapse, but then what does that mean? You're advocating for your patient to be sedentary. When really, there's this athletic wear called EVB. I don't know what it stands for. It's EVB Sports. They make capris, they make shorts, they make leggings that lift and push in your uterus. Or that's what they claim. Now, your regular leggings and stuff, they'll be tight, but they're going to actually promote prolapse because it's just pushing it in. Well, what happens? Gravity just pulls it down, so you're pushing it in and down. And that's very bad because it's holding it in that place. It's better to not wear leggings at all than to wear these leggings that are pushing everything in, and it's getting that extra push down from gravity because of that. It's just holding it in place in a lower position. So, EVB Sports, if you're going to walk, if you're going to run, if you insist on doing that stuff, like me, some people just like doing it. As long as it's not your exercise, as long as you're not considering that your exercise period, I'm okay with that, but make sure you wear these prolapse support gear called EVB Sports. They're expensive, they're out of Europe, but your health and savings account might pay for it. One of my health savings accounts did pay for it. One of the other ones, it was a crappy one, it did not pay for it. I don't remember how much shipping was. I do believe it was like $78 for a pair of capris. So, yeah, and don't listen to your doc about this stuff. Your doc does not know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go into this. This is where Nassar got away with his sex crimes. That whore was sexually abusing women and underage women under the guise of legitimate prolapse or pelvic care. Nassar was specialized in reparative or maintenance pelvic care. I don't know what the official name of it's called. I've been to it myself. It's great as a preventative, but once you get prolapse, good luck trying to reverse it. They stick their hands inside you and do pressure points and sometimes massage to make sure prolapse doesn't happen. This prolapse will happen to female athletes who do it professionally or even just regularly if they do not do this restorative care. Because all that pounding, all athletes, the pounding on the ground, or if you're doing, what do you call them, bars, the swing bars, whatever you call them. I mean, just whacking your pelvis repeatedly, you know. Look at what they do. They're whacking their uterus. They're whacking their uterus repeatedly. And so anyways, in weightlifting, women, I hate to say this, but your body was not meant to be lifting them heavy weights. That pushes down. That bears down on your uterus and your bladder and your rectum. Male weightlifters, it's well known that heavy lifters get prolapse to the point of protrusion. And they have to get it surgically reinserted or surgically lifted. People just weren't meant to lift that much weight. And for women, you got two other organs that can prolapse. I'm sorry, but unless you're going to lay down and do this lifting, you shouldn't be doing it. And I'm a lifter. And I don't lift over 25 pounds. And now that I got prolapse, I was recommended. But I would not recommend anybody lifting more than 50 pounds. Any woman lifting more than 50 pounds. Because of prolapse. But health is more than... Did I say throw away the scale? The scale is the worst way to estimate your health. It's terrible. It shows nothing. BMI is basically just height, weight, average with one extra something thrown in to make it look professional, I guess, or sophisticated. But BMI is BS because every weightlifter would be over BMI. Because all it's doing is taking your weight. It has nothing to do with, is that weight muscle or is it fat? Is it bone or is it fat? It doesn't take any of that into account. It's just height, weight, average. So that's BS. The scale is BS because it doesn't let you know how much, doesn't even take your weight, your height into account. It just tells you your weight. It doesn't tell you, is that muscle? Is that a tumor? Is that bone? Nothing. Even the nutrition labels, easy access. Well, first thing, everything with nutrition labels, 90% of it's processed foods, and you shouldn't be eating that crap. So, but if you took an avocado, and let's say that had a nutritional calorie count on it. It came in a package with a calorie count. That avocado would have as much fat and as much calories as I don't know, maybe, I'm guessing here, but I'm going to say maybe like a regular sized Twix bar. But your Twix bar is full of sugar and sodium, and all the health and nutrition is processed out of it and is just left with the unhealthy stuff. Whereas your avocado has health and nutrition in it. Maybe the same amount of calories, maybe the same fat count, but it's healthy. It's healthy calories, healthy fat. It's going to get metabolized better. Your body's going to utilize it better. You know, your fat might go towards your, I don't know, your calories from fat might go towards your muscle building or whatever, you know, making sure your skin is soft and supple. Whereas the Twix is just going to go to fat. You know, it's not going to do anything. And that sugar, you know, a lot of people have problems with their joints being painful and inflamed from sugar. You know, the sugar in there. That's why I'm saying this is very complex. You can't just look at something and say, oh, it's got this many calories, it's bad, or this much, it's got this much fat, it's bad. You can't say that. It's very complex. Just avoid processed foods. If you're serious about this, you're going to listen to what I'm saying. And do a full-rounded, not well-rounded, exercise program. I recommend Faithful Workouts. It is for older people, but it is the only exercise program that I know is full-rounded, getting the 5 needs of exercise: cardio, flexibility, strength, core, and balance. The last one is especially important for people, old people like me, because we start losing our balance and flexibility. We start losing our flexibility too. But that one, now the stretching, the flexibility on there, it's pretty base, pretty juvenile, but great for people who, you know, it makes sure it gets it in there, so you don't have to worry about doing, you know, getting it done. But if you want deeper stretching, more intense stretching, I recommend Tom Merrick. Also, Patricia Walden, she does the Iyengar. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She does Iyengar yoga that works more with balance, alignment. Alignment works your balance very well, and that will also help with your minuscule muscles, especially in your ankles, which we have a tendency not to get. Walking does not get your tiny little muscles in there that we need for balance. So, yeah, it's very complex. It's not, walking, in my opinion, well, not my opinion, fact, walking is the worst exercise. Even running is better than walking, because at least running, you're getting more resistance in there. Walking is just movement. That's all it is. And if you're saying I'm exercising, you know, referring to walking as exercising, you're not exercising, and you're not serious about being healthy, and you're not serious about exercising. So just don't. And don't argue with people that say this is the worst exercise there is, or it is not exercise, it's just moving. I don't consider moving exercise. Okay? And that, calling that exercise is insult to people like me who make sure to get an exercise every single day and at least 20 minutes of exercise. At least 20 minutes of exercise every single day. It's an insult to us. And another thing, it's like, oh, you like to exercise. I don't like to exercise. I do it because it makes me healthy. At my age, I need to work on my balance, and I need to work on my flexibility. And now that I'm menopausal, my muscles are going to crap and things are starting to sag. So I have to do resistance training and strength training to make sure these, you know, I don't flab all over the place or turn into fat, because now, menopause, I don't metabolize calories, fats, anything like I used to, and I have to do that. Another thing, supplements. You got to take your supplements. You know, find out what your problem is, and instead of running to the doctor to get a prescription for it, You know, look at your diet, add some supplements. My knees are starting to go, so I'm taking chondroitin, something chondroitin, 2 different supplements for it, and then some joint reparative stuff and some collagen. Having to add that. It's expensive, but it's less expensive than prescription medication. Prescription medication just masks the problem, doesn't resolve it. So anyways, again, perimeter shop rundown, perimeter shopping. Don't eat anything processed. Avoid dairy. That can be your sweet stuff, but not ice cream. Anything but ice cream. Walking is not exercising. Running is not exercising. Do a full rounded exercise plan like faithful workouts. And take supplements. It's very simple, but this will be the hardest change for somebody who's serious about health, getting healthy. And if you're going to bicker, I'll just block you. If you have a legitimate question, please leave it in the comments. Otherwise, just ignore this video. Move on. You're not serious about your health anyway, so why bicker about it?